Okay, good morning and welcome to Yeshiva YouTube, just Daf It. Today we're finishing the 8th parak. We did the 8th parak pretty quickly. Kesubos Pei Beis, number 82. As you can see behind me, we have a nice white paroches, white curtain to the table, to the ark here. Because tonight is Rosh Hashanah. It's very exciting. Erev Rosh Hashanah to give a shir. Let's get started. Let's give a lot of shirim today. 10 shir I'm hoping to give this morning. Let's get started. We're in the middle of Pei Beis and Aleph, the two dots, about 7 lines from the top. Hugavra, the Nafalei Yivama b'Masa Mechesia. We had a similar incident in yesterday's daf. A man, right, his brother lived in Masa Mechesia, he died. He was waiting. He had a different brother who wanted to give a get to her and pass her him to do Yibum. He wanted to do Yibum. He wanted the wife. He wanted the brother's estate. The brother didn't want to get the entire estate. Why do you want to give her again? If it's because of the possessions, I'll split it with you. The brother said back to him, like we saw yesterday, a similar incident happened in Muvadisa. The Gemara doesn't tell you what happened at the end of the Maisa, but apparently you see from this Gemara that the guy tricked him. He said he was going to give him half for the Nechasim. Right, when he does Yibum. It's only Conan when he does Yibum, and apparently he didn't give it to him. Ramah, the cheater from Muvadisa, he says, if you want to avoid me tricking you, I'll give you half the Nechasim now, even before I do Yibum. Amar Marbar Ravashi, Avagav the Chasar of Dimi, Amar Rabbi Yochanan, Amar Lachver Alech Mashach Parazu, V'lo Tia Knilach Elalach Shloshim Yom. A person wants to make a kinyan on someone's cow, right? He wants to sell a cow. The going race for a cow, if you go, according to Google between $2,000 and $5,000. He wants to sell you a cow. So, do Mashicha right now, which is a kinyan, but I'm only being makneh to do after 30 days. Kana, the halacha is Riyach Baskin, it works. I feel it's by Agam, even after 30 days, standing in Agam, in a marsh, an ownerless marsh, right, where you can't be Kona, you have to be Kona in your Rishus. It does work. So why shouldn't we say the same thing over here when he's making the kingdom before the Yibum? The Gemara says, Hasan biyado, there, he could have been mocking him the para right then and there. He stipulated after 30 days. Hakalav biyado, here, until he does Yibum, he's not entitled to these nechasim, to these properties. So the Gemara says, how could we even say by the para he's kona? Rabbi Yochanan said he's not kona, lo kasha. Rabbi Yochanan was talking about where he said, be kona from now, and when 30 days end, meaning he says Kona from now, contingent that 30 days pass. So once 30 days pass, he's Kona now, right? That's otherwise he's really Kona and 30 days later. And 30 days later it was in the Agam, he couldn't be Kona. But we name Ula. He asked from Ula, Yavam v'achal mahu. Let's say he did Yibum, and then he just divided the Nechasim. What's the case? Could he do it? Lo asa v'lo klum. So he said Lo asa. He answered loss of a loklum. He tries to divide the nechasim. Like yesterday, Rabbi Abba's statement, you can't sell all the nechasim that he acquires from his brother or meshubah to the ksuba. He can't divide it. He can't sell it. Chilek v'achar what about in a case where he divided it? Then he was miyavim her mouth. Loss of a loklum. He said in that case also loss of a loklum. It wasn't valid. Masked Rav Sheish asked on the line of questioning. Actually, yavam v'achar chilek loss of a loklum. But they're first to the king yibum. He was calling the nechasim. And then he's machalik, we paskin, he didn't do anything. Why do you even have to state the second halacha? Of course, it's not going to work. There were two incidents that happened separately, right? The Gemara listed them in the order chronologically, but really, the second one is obvious. The Gemara says, whatever happens, loss of a loklum, you can't sell it, but you can't divide it. Loss of a loklum is your Kona, your brother's estate. You can't divide it, right? Like we obviously said yesterday, you can't sell it. You can't even that. And we pass in Achlokas, we pass in the Eved, the Zvine, Loavi Zvine, he sells it, or he divides it, he gives it to his brothers. It doesn't work afterwards. Because all Nechasim are Meshubah to the Ksuva. The Chum Omrim, back to the Mishnah, Parasim Kubarim L'Karka Shalo, when the Yavam is Miyabim her, the fruits are attached to the karka belong to him, Amai. And the Gemara says, "High kol nechasa, Ryan l'ksuvasa." All the nechasim that he brought in from his brother's estate, right? They're meshubah to the ksuva. Amar Ishlagish Tani Shalah. It's the wrong word in our Mishnah. It should be Shalah. It belongs to her. It belongs to her, meaning it's nechse maluk, right? Nechse maluk. They end up doing when we explain more in Iyah Ben Sion. they do technically belong to the second husband, and therefore you have to sell it, but it doesn't belong to him, because at the time when he acquired her, right, they're mechuber l'karka, so we treat it as like karka, like safra. I'm sorry, that belonged to her. Kansa reiki ishta. The Mishnah continues. He does yibum. She becomes his wife. What is the halacha? The Mishnah is teaching. That he divorces her, he marries her, he did yibum. When he wants to divorce her, he gives her a get, not chalitza, and he can remarry her after the divorce. Obviously, if she's his wife, he has to give her a get. Right? So even after there's yibum, right, she's still in a status of zika. She needs a chalitza, not a get. Kamash malan, no, she's his wife in every aspect, and therefore he's magarsha beget. The Gemara is machzira. The second point of this halacha, Yosef says that he can return her, he can remarry her pshita. Obviously, why not? Ma'od the same. So the Gemara says, now you might have thought pay bezim and bez on the top. Mitzvah the Ram Rahman Aleh Avda. He did the mitzvah of yibum. Bahash take him aleh beisar eishasach. Now the Isra Eishazach goes back in place, right? When he did Yibum, fine, but now he divorced her, and now it goes back to an Isra Eishazach. He can't marry his brother's wife. It's not a matzah of Yibum. Kamash Malan, no. Still, he's allowed to remarry. Ema Hakanam. He say, it's true, he can't remarry. Amar Krav, Lachalo Isha. It says he acquires her for a wife. Kemish Alacha, the Gemara Darshans, once he married her, Nasas Isha, did Yibum, she becomes his wife, L'chol Davar, and therefore there's no longer an Isra Eishazach. Lavashek Zivasal Nixle Bala Rishon, my time. Why did they institute that, or why, we'll see, why they institute, is it Darais or the Rabban in this Gemara? We'll talk about that in Yud Ben Sion. What's the reason that her ksuva is, right, is based on her first husband's estate, not his estate, the second husband's estate, the brother's estate, the Yavam's estate? It was forced upon him, right? He had to do Yibum, right? He didn't decide to marry this one. The Gemara says practically, if the first one doesn't have enough money to give her a ksuva from his estate, Islam is sheni midrabanan, they're masakin, and the sheni should give her a ksuva because she's not guaranteed to have the money for a ksuva. He'll just divorce her very easily, and the marriage will dissolve. He shouldn't say, the Mishnah says, put a ksuva on the table, set aside $200 for my v'chein. And it says similarly by a regular marriage also. Right? When it comes to yibum, right, he doesn't write a new ksuva, right? Which instead in the ksuva, whatever I acquired or whatever I'll acquire in the future, is meshubah your ksuva. Haka the katzala the kanai the kanina, right? Whatever I will buy or I bought, ema samcha dait. You might think that she has smichas das, and therefore she'll assume she'll get paid. And even if he designates a certain amount of money, she won't care. Kamash b'la. No, she really only it feels comfortable in a marriage if all of his estate is meshubah to her ksuva. Gersha in la ksuva. Ksubasa. If he's Megarish, she only has a Ksuba. Girsha in lo, Girsha lo. So it sounds like only if he's Megarish, then she gets her Ksuba. Kamash Malan, the Riyaba tell you that before the Gerishin, right, if he tries to sell land that he inherited from his brother, it's an invalid sale like Rabbi Abba and like Rabbi Yosef, right? They invalidated the sale. If he remarries her, she's like, oh, the woman, she only has her ksuva. She only gets one ksuva. Zero ma'ikamash balan. What's coming to teach? Tanina, we're going to learn it in a Mishnah on Daf It. A regular man divorces a wife, and before giving her a ksuva, he remarries her. Manas ksuva rishona ma'achzira. Right? We assume that she doesn't get two ksuvas. She got married the second time, right? Assuming she's going to get paid the ksuva from the first marriage. That's talking about a regular man. He marries a woman. He wasn't the brother. The Yavam wasn't the one who wrote the ksuva. When he's megarish and returns her, you might think she gets another ksuva from him. No, she still has in mind to use the ksuva with the first brother. Originally, that's what they wrote. They wrote in the shtar. She gets masayim for psula mana mana. Men wouldn't be able to get married to one. Women wouldn't be happy just having 100 or 200, they weren't sure they could get paid. They wouldn't want to get married. All his estate is Meshubah to Reksuva. She'll definitely get married and she'll marry him, and the man won't grow old and be bachelors the rest of their lives. We learned similar in a Bryce. They would get old, they wouldn't marry. The first Takana, the Gemara didn't say this before. before they came to Meshabed all as Nechasim the Ksuba, first they would designate certain money. They would designate $200, right? A watch worth $200. Longines watch, I pronounce it. Longines watch. When he would get angry at her, he would get angry. He would get rid of. He would divorce her. Right? Go the ksuva. I already set it aside. So they left it in his house, or he had control over it. Right? The rich people would make out of the money silver baskets, gold baskets, and he also Avid. Right? The rich ones would get more than just manama, and they get a tosefes, so they can make gold and silver out of it. The poor ones would only be able to make it into a urinal. Shel meme raglayim, urinal. Still, even if it was in his house, even though it was his possession, sometimes you get angry and just give her the ksuba because it was already designated. All my properties, I'm sure, with the ksuba, and sometimes a man doesn't want to pay the ksuba because properties he sold or he gives a mashman to somebody else, she's be able to collect from that. So therefore, it'll be more of a deterrent for him to get divorced. So really, there's two takanas over here. One is takana is that he shouldn't designate money for it, because it designates money, right? That was the first takana, designated money for it, designated specific utensil or movable object for it, right? He'll still be megarisha right away because he already sort of gave that to her partially, so he's willing to forgo that and megarish. However, when you wrote a kol nechasim akran l'ksuvasa, so therefore all his nechasim are meshuvah to the ksuva, it's going to be harder for the megarish because he's basically have to give her something that belongs to him, not something that he already half designated to her, and that's harder for him to part with his money. It's hard for people to part with the money, so therefore the marriage will stay stronger. He won't divorce her right away. Hadran Allah Isha. We finished the 8th parak. We'll move on to the 9th parak. Hope you enjoyed today's shir. Stay tuned for Ian Ben Sion. We're going to talk more about what I talked about yesterday. Ian Ben Sion. There's two parts of the ksuba, which are divided between the yavam and the deceased brother. To explain it a little more and explain a Gemara here. Isha Nishul Mishamayim is at the rice of the Rabbanon. Stay tuned for Ian Ben Sion coming up next.